Okay. Hey guys. So I had last week similar talk, so I will kind of reuse my presentation. I generated this first slide with DALL-E free. Like, do you pay for ChatGPT? Cool. Like half of people here. I think it's really useful for everyday stuff. So I'm recommending this. I will show you like few stuff. I've been working with LLMs for like 3 years now. When OpenAI announced GPT-3 last year, around the same time, I had talk about GPT-3. It was before the announcement of ChatGPT, so it was before it was cool. And like what I did, and you might saw it, I did this experiment where you can ask some questions which are from civil law, for example, where I can put my tree. If I have neighbor, it should like answer you. It must be 3 meters from the neighbor. How this works? It uses again a vector database. I split the whole civil law, which is pretty big. I split it by the paragraphs, and I send it to the vector database. And if you write some question here, you basically translate this question to the embeddings. I have some nice visualization what's embeddings. Basically, you have a lot of dimensions. If you use OpenAI, I think it's over 1,000 dimensions. And so you translate your questions to those numbers, and you basically try to find some semantic similar stuff which are present in the civil law, and you get back this context. You basically put it back to the large language model, and it will answer something to you. So we can just quickly try it. I hope you can read it. Yeah, it's, as I said, it said like 3 meters. And I did this like demo application at the beginning of the year. I just wanted to try how vector database works, but it was quite interesting that a lot of like people from Czech Republic and from like laws like related stuff, like like writes me about this, like, hey, this sucks, or hey, this is interesting. Some of the like lawyers were like crying, like, hey, I will lose my job in 1 year. Some of them was like, hey, this doesn't work. I honestly didn't care. I just wanted to know how this like technically works, but it's still working. I don't have any like rate limiting or something, and it costs like just few bucks per month. So I hope you will not use it in a bad way right now.
How many queries per month do you have there?
Yeah, I will show you a bit later. Then I also create this fun experiment. It's a website which creates own articles every day. There are no people, and it's like those articles about self-improvement and those kind of bullshit. So it was again just fun, and I thought that Google might like index these sites, and I will just put some ads there and be a millionaire. So this was also a fun experiment. And then last year, I've been employed in a company where we basically did like ChatGPT clone. It was just meant for designers. So it looked like this. You have some sort of chat interface. You can ask questions about your project. You can also get images. So there was some, integrations with Unsplash and those kind of stuff. And what was interesting that if you worked on a team on some application which using language models, it's totally different than when you just work alone. Does anybody here creating like LLM application in your company? Okay, just two people. Okay, so trust me, it basically you don't have basically any tooling. Like what you get from OpenAI is basically this kind of playground where you can put something here like my name is Petr, and you can it like outputs some weird stuff here. And that's nice. You can like fiddle with prompts and then use it in your code. But that's all. Like if you actually making API calls, like you don't have any observability here. You don't know what you send there. Like what's there is just this basically. So like that's nice. You see the usage for this month, but you don't have anything else. So you don't know, like if you create a chatbot, you don't know what the chatbot is answering to your customers or something like this. And in that company, we basically were forced to create own tooling, which gave me an idea that this kind of tooling will be needed for all kinds of companies which want to work with large language models. And I finally can start with my slides. So all of those slides are generated by DALL-E 3. I hate making slides, so I'm so glad that it's so nice, or I think it's nice. So short story. Imagine you are working on a basically ChatGPT, like something like ChatGPT, or let's say again ChatGPT for designers, like specifically, and it's very, very easy to create the first prototype in a week or maybe two, and you internally can try it, and if you are trying it, you are totally different user than the real user, so you are trying it in a very nice way, like, hey, give me a title for this article, and it works nicely. But yeah, and you you might say, let's deploy it. It's so stable. But if you do it, you could have problems. Like a lot of your customers could write to your support, like, hey, it doesn't work. It sucks. It doesn't have memory. You need to solve memory. And if you don't have any observability, which you don't have by default, it's pretty hard for you to fix it. So basically, we were forced internally to create some sort of tooling, which we didn't have focus on, so it sucked. It was just some like simple dashboard on top of the database. And the other thing on our team was that there was also non-developers, so UX people, there are some QA people, and even the CEO wanted to have some impact on the prompts. So they wanted to change the personality, so it's more cute how it answers and those kind of stuff. And the problem is, by default, you have those prompts in your code base. That's by default, like that's typically how it's done. Like you integrate the prompt with Langtail or something like that, or you just use it OpenAI API, but it's in your TypeScript or Python code base, and it's not very accessible to those people. So we also did a thing which is pretty normal if you are doing translations, we basically put those prompts outside of the code base, so even non-developers could make changes. Yes?
I have a question. I just don't get non-observability. I thought a user types something,
Yeah.
this goes to you, you make the API call to the language model,
Yeah.
the language model returns something to you,
Mhm.
and you serve it to the consumer.
Yeah.
Then you see what came back now, because you serve it to the consumer.
Yeah, but you need some sort of like dashboard or something, and like you are probably saving it to your database, but you need to create some sort of view over all of those conversations.
This
So
you don't have.
yeah, you don't have this.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was the slide. I just like described this like. Imagine someone non-technical is joining your team. I did it with Erica here. And if it's, again, if those prompts are part of your code base, it's not very accessible. And if you would answer with something like that, that would probably not work for them. So my question was, and I think it will move it will shift to this different paradigm, or I kind of betting on this, that prompts should be treated like similarly as translation strings. It should live outside of the code base. So basically, yeah, language models seems pretty simple. It's very easy to do some demo and show it on Twitter or X. And you will get how many likes, those kind of stuff. But when you launch it in a production, it's not easy. Yeah, here are some quotes which basically saying the same thing. I cherry picked them. No, just kidding. Let's move on. Yeah, and like this is a pretty fun example where some supermarket did this application. I think they didn't have observability, or maybe they had, but I can imagine that it worked pretty nicely if you would put like basic stuff like potatoes and those kind of stuff. But some users just put those kind of drugs-related stuff inside, and it worked. So the thing is, you cannot really mitigate it, but at least you can try, and you can have some sort of alerting if there is this case, and you can react quickly. So there is like no article such as this one. Yeah, and what I'm building for a few months, and right now I'm in a phase where MVP is finally ready. It's published and it's free to use. It's called Langtail, and it should be a solution for what I described, and I can show it to you. So just very quickly, just one more meme before the product. When I started to work on that, it seems like there is nothing like that. But when I started to do competitive landscape and those kind of stuff, it looks like everyone is doing it right now. So I already know like eight competitors. They seems to be very much focused on just monitoring, not the other part of the workflow, such as the workflow for non-developers. So that's some sort of differentiator. So what I'm building is obviously the observability. You need to know what goes inside and outside of the language model. It's a basically no-code tool where you can define those prompts. When your prompts are like ready, you are deploying them, and it works like functions. It's like a Lambda function or something like that. We are technically using Cloudflare workers, it's pretty scalable. You get logs and automatic alerts, and this one is pretty interesting. It's pretty hard to, obviously it's pretty hard to test the language model because it can answer differently every time. So what you can do, and what's, I guess, best practice right now is to generate a lot of examples with different inputs, and you could have like semi-automatic way how to check the output, and if the output, for example, if some word should be included in the output, you can create tests for that. It's much more difficult when you have open questions. When you generate open questions, then there needs to be another LLM which is like checking the output if it's like semantically correct. So sometimes it fails. It's not like 100% correct every time, but it's better than nothing. And I can show you a demo right now, and then I will talk briefly about some technical part of Langtail. So I have some live hack, or I will try it. I will try to invert colors. Okay. So because the dark theme doesn't really work on this projector, so it's dark by default, but right now I just change it so it's better visible. Not sure if it's if this will do some weird stuff, but we can at least try it. So you are in some interface, you created your own organization, and I can create a demo here. Or what I can maybe show you is that Option GPT, because I obviously use Langtail for Option GPT, and basically, can you read it? Is it real? Okay. So the prompt is weird. You can probably read it. It's pretty weird. Like it's saying like use much more time and even much more computing resources. Such a bullshit, right? But it works. Like if I strip it down, I had some test inputs, and those inputs were like, yeah, I cannot probably say it here. So it was some sort of inputs for civil law, but yeah, because of the camera. But I know that some inputs are like failing, and this was the way how to like. And I'm not saying it's the only way, but this was the way how for the GPT 3.5, which is very, very cheap model, how to basically make it work. So when we did this, it works for some inputs a bit better than before. Also, what's included here, that when you don't know, say don't know, it's fine. You don't need to lie. So this is basically used in production. It's deployed. This is the API endpoint which I'm using in my code. So for me as a developer, I'm just calling API endpoint. I don't need to learn a LangChain which has hundreds of methods, and every day they have new version. I'm just calling API, and I have some sort of analytics here. So for example, it costs me just this amount, which is like basically nothing if you see it. Oh, sorry. This is the cost. So less than $1, and I have some like basic observability. I have also logs here, but I will not show it because people are asking stuff.
Now I'm curious.
How not to get catched.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, let's do some demo here. So also what's interesting, and I wanted to just mention it, that, and it was mentioned in the previous talk, that function calling, which is a feature from OpenAI, where you can get basically a structured way how to call your functions. before that, you need to create your own syntax to get, for example, JSON output. But with function callings, it's natively supported by OpenAI. But the problem is they don't have time to support it in their own playground. So you cannot really try it here. That sucks. You need to open, editor and write some code. And what we did, and I think I have some demo here just for this playground. Yeah. So what we did as a free tool, completely free tool, is that you have the same kind of playground, but you can actually fiddle with those functions. And those functions, as you can see, are just like JSON schema. So this example is some very stupid bot, which you can ask about some weather from some city, and it will say, hey, call this function, which is called get current weather with this parameter. And the idea is that in your own code base, you need to have this function defined. So you call some sort of external API, and this function role is what you should return from the API. That's not really like defined. You could return anything. It could be just string, it could be JSON. And if I hit send, this is again the human readable answer. So yeah, we create this kind of playground just to be able to play with those functions, because it's not in OpenAI playground. And from this, we created this whole app. And what we can do right now is to create some very simple prompt, which I can then deploy and use in my prepared application. So what I did with my like when I explained what I do to my wife, I was creating a prompt with a grumpy old man. So who is like English speaker only here? Because I would, okay. So I will write it in Czech, but I will translate it. So you are a very grumpy old man, and when I say something nice to you, you are still grumpy as fuck. So sorry, I need to always switch to different keyboards. So, can use variables here, so it could be teacher or old man or anything. My God. Seš velmi nepříjemný starý důchodce. Okay, we can try it. So we have this system prompt, and it's with GPT 3.5, which is like a bit retarded. We can make temperature a bit larger, so it's more creative, and and I can put something here like and what I said that you are always grumpy, always angry, and whatever I'm say to you, you will say something bad to me. So let's say something really nice. Okay, should be fine, right? We will see. Okay, but it's not that hard. Like I could now try to make it a bit harsher, so I can change the prompt like don't forget to Zapomeň. Okay. Okay, let's try it again. Sorry, I will hit send. Yo, that's better. Okay, so let's say this bot is very useful, obviously, like typical check bot, right? So let's deploy it. I can deploy, like if you know Vercel, you have different environments. You have preview, you have preview environment, which you can use for, you know, if you want to have specific link for each deployment. You have staging, which is always like just one staging. So if you deploy to staging again, it's different prompt basically on that staging. And production is versioned by default, so you have version 1, version 2, version 3. So let's do staging. This is what I'm currently deploying. So it's this like system message, and it is those parameters. So I can hit the deploy. It's deployed here. This would be green by default, but I invert the colors, so it's kind of red right now. Yeah. I need two stuff. I need the URL here. Yeah, I will invert the colors back, right, just for this moment. Yeah, I have this small app which is just glue to support streaming, because I will stream the answer. And the last time I showed this demo, it didn't work, so hopefully it will work today. I also need an API key. Okay, hit save, and now wish me luck.
You know what was the issue last time?
Different port. Okay, so yeah, this is just, you know, very simple dummy app. I use it for different things, and I just use it for this. So I can say the same stuff here. Let's say, miluji vás, I love you. Okay. Please.
Different port again?
That's weird. When I show this demo, it's always broke.
OpenAI status.
I will try it again. And also the network tab. Okay, I will try to revert to code which worked when I tried just before this talk. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so it worked. Like what I copy from Langtail, like there was I probably did some mistake again, but this was the same kind of prompt which I created with my wife. So same kind of grumpy man. It said something bad to me. Yeah. So this is basically how I defined the prompt here. And when I call it, that's interesting. So the call actually goes to the Langtail, but for some reason the OpenAI didn't create a response, which I'm Not sure why, but I have those kind of logs here, so everything goes inside. I can see here.
This is great, then you can debug.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, and I can get back to the slides. It's gonna be fast right now. Yeah, you can visit it right now, right here. It's completely free. We didn't implement Stripe yet, so just use it. Yeah, some technical stuff, like we wanted to be really fast, ship quickly. Right now, we don't have time to make it focus on beautiful code. So we started with this stack. Not sure if you know this weird guy, but he's kind of cool, and he created this stack, which is basically fully type safe, using TypeScript a lot. What's there is TRPC. Do you know TRPC? Okay. Yeah, so again, you have type safe API. I can show it just very, very quickly. So I hope you can at least, can you read it just a bit? So on the left side, you are basically describing the API. You can connect to your database in a query, and then you can use integration with React query, which is really nice. And this is how you call it in your React components. I will just talk more about why it's nice, or I can maybe say it right now. It's nice because previously in my previous startup, we used Redux for all the state, and when we fetch data from a server, we always copy it to the some sort of store where we did some transformation and stuff like that. And with React query, you don't need to really create some sort of global state if you read or mutate data a lot. So in this whole app, I don't have any Redux here. I'm just using this React query for everything. And when I need some local state, because sometimes you need it, I just usually just use state. And when it's something difficult in a sense that you would need 8 use state, I really like xstate. Not sure if you know xstate. Do you know xstate? Okay. Just maybe show it very quickly. It's a really nice way how to describe all the states in a declarative way. And what's also nice about it is that you can create a visualization for this. So there is this link to how you can show some sort of logic. For example, this is one way how to visualize some states. And if you think about a modal window, some dialog, it could have a lot of different states, like loading, closing, saving, those kind of stuff. So when it's a bit more complicated, I usually use xstate. Go back here. Yeah, I use Tailwind a lot. We don't have any designer. I'm not designer, and I design it all. So what I recommend a lot is this. I'm probably not able to pronounce this name. It's Shatsian. Do you know Shatsian? Okay. It's really good. What's really good about this is that you don't need to install anything. You can just copy paste the code and change it how you want. I really like it. And what I also recommend is this UI kit. It's not for free, but you can get a really nicely designed component out of this. So for example, let's show some, I don't know, form layout. So you have, for example, this designed component. You can change it how you want, and it's not npm dependency or something. It just simple HTML code using Tailwind. So highly recommend this. I'm using Prisma. If you are not super awesome with databases, which is my case, I use Prisma because then it's very easy to do something with database. And I also worked with my co-founder, which he was like CTO in Avocode, and he can do a lot of magic with databases. So I know Prisma is quite limited if you want to do something more complicated. For me, it was completely fine, but as I said, I'm not really a database guy. What's also not very good about Prisma is that if you want to use Edge workers or Cloudflare workers, you cannot really do it because Prisma is written in Rust and the whole package is kind of big. So what you can do right now, and it's not a very good solution, is that you can use their own, they created a proxy for this case. So it would mean that you can use workers or edge functions, but you need to call their